It's like pointing down. It's like a bit much. It used to be right here. That's where it used to be, but now it's like really thick. I don't know. Wintertime, but I feel like I need to trim it. Trim it all. Anyways.
Welcome to Hitting the Brakes with Bill.
Well, I'm out here in the parking lot, Bill, waiting to pick up Tina for lunch. And I saw a picture online John Arminio had put up of Scott Glenn looking wiry and muscly at like 70 years old, no shirt on, bay-ass knife, looking pretty damn cool. And it got me thinking, when was the first time I saw Scott Glenn? I think it was around the beginning of 1980. The Urban Cowboy came out. And my friend Ronald, my brother, and I all went to the theater. We went in to go see Urban Cowboy, and my brother went in to see The Nude Bomb. Now, I liked Urban Cowboy, but in retrospect, I would have rather watched The Nude Bomb. But again, I did have a good time watching Urban Cowboy. I'd seen Grease so many times. I was a big fan of John Travolta. You know, Scott Glenn always seemed to be, to me anyways, a very fit actor. Not ridiculously so. He didn't like put himself out as the muscly celebrity, but he was always fit. And he's been that way ever since. So it doesn't surprise me that he's still that way now. But it's still good to see. Now, in the Urban Cowboy, at that time, to me, he seemed kind of big. Maybe not. Maybe just really fit, but kind of scary. I think the next thing I saw him in, like late night, probably on HBO sometime when I was a kid, was The Keep. You know, it must have been, is it rated R? The following motion picture has been rated R by the Motion Picture Association of America. It is intended for mature audiences and parental discretion is advised. This film will be shown only at night. All those rating systems from HBO live rent-free in my brain. They'll never go away. They'll be there forever. You know what? I may be mistaken. I think before The Keep, I saw The Challenge. Now, a little history with The Challenge with me. I saw it. I don't think I saw the whole thing when it was on. I saw most of it. And as a kid, I really liked it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Then later on, I tracked it down. It was hard to find. Somebody had it on DVD. They probably made it on DVD. I got it. And I watched the whole thing. And it wasn't exactly like I remembered.
Listen to me. I'll kick your ass. I'll kick your ass. I'll kick any ass in this joint. All right?
You want to fight?
Yeah, shit, yeah, I'll fight.
Yeah, I think overall I still enjoy that movie. Not as much as I did when I first saw it, younger, but I still like it. And then I probably saw The Keep. After that, I think comes Silverado. I had a great damn time with Silverado.
You're empty, mister.
So much fun. Now, the next thing that jumps into my mind is probably Flashback. He was in that, right? Yeah, he was in that. Flashback. That's not right. I mean, it sounds backdraft.
Let me go, Bo.
You go. We go.
Then after that, it was probably The Hunt for Red October. Great role for him in that movie. Loved it. Every damn thing in The Hunt for Red October is fantastic. Everything and everybody.
All back full.
Say again?
I said all back full.
Back full, aye, sir. Engines back full. Captain, we're cavitating. He can hear us.
Come on, aye. All stop.
Stop, aye.
All right, Ryan. We just unzipped our fly. Mr. Thompson, open the outer doors. Firing point procedures. Now, if that bastard so much as twitches, I'm going to blow him right to Mars.
Anyways, it was good. And you know what? I think the last thing that I remember seeing him in was Vertical Limit. I remember him rubbing his feet that had no toes on it anymore. Huh? You know what? I think I'm missing something. Silence of the Lambs. Right? Yes. Anyways, I've always enjoyed Scott Glenn, and I really respect him as an actor and as a knife wielder. It's a cool damn photo. Arminio was saying, and I totally agree with him on this, that he could only wish or aspire to look like Scott Glenn does at 70. Me too.
Not 70. 86.
In his 80s. Did I get that wrong? Or did John Arminio get that wrong? John Arminio.
Scott Glenn has been around for quite a while now, my friend. And yes, he looks incredible. So most recently, I saw Scott Glenn was in the most recent season of The White Lotus on HBO, which I know you don't watch. But he played a guy that Walton Goggins' character had a hard-on for, Walton Goggins was fascinated with Scott Glenn, who's a wealthy American expat living in Thailand, owns a bunch of land and runs the hotel that they're in, the White Lotus Hotel that they're in, and Walton Goggins wants to murder him because he thinks he's responsible for the death of his father years and years later. And of course, I think the comparison is that both Walton Goggins and Scott Glenn are the same human gristle.
There's nothing on that plate but gristle and fat.
Double the bet.
Oh, God, no. No problem. Listen, if I can get a dessert down them, think you could throw in a couple of Paul Bunyan hats?
No body fat on them. They're just skin on top of sinew. I mean, they have character actor traits, but their builds are so similar. I mean, it kind of figures in a little bit to the narrative, but whatever, I won't spoil that. So the first thing, I think I saw Scott Glenn in. I'm at a sequence here, but it's great because the great way to, HBO and culture and things like that. The movies were of a tranche. They came out, but I didn't see them in years in which they were released. So the right stuff, man, the right stuff. I thought Scott Glenn was an astronaut. I confused Scott Glenn and John Glenn. Also, he looked the part. All those guys did. They were all supposed to be Navy pilots, right? That's what they were, essentially. He absolutely looked the part. He was great. And, you know, that kind of quiet, canny stoicism, the sort of man apart, separate thing that Scott Glenn's got going for him looks so amazing. And then the keep.
What secret, what evil, what force draws them to the keep? What hit this place?
What I saw wasn't real. You're part of this!
I am the Watchman.
And The Keep holds up. I watch The Keep once a year. The Keep is one of the movies I come back to. I don't know, it burrowed into my head. Same thing, HBO. It looks so beautiful. And Scott Glenn is, so far as I know, playing like the only supernatural character he's ever played his whole career. He's really been more of a genre guy, or at least a, you know, down-to-earth genre guy, but he's playing a numinous being, you know, somebody like who's out of this fiction series that The Keep was based on. He's like a biblical figure almost, and the way his carriage and the way his eyes look haunted, he could do that, and he just hasn't been asked to, or hasn't had the confidence to do something like that. I don't know, it's weird. He had a bunch of good roles in the 80s. He was in a Gregory Hines movie called Off Limits. These guys in Vietnam were almost like JAGs or warrant officers in Vietnam investigating a sort of intra-military conspiracy in Hanoi. Yeah, I guess it would have been Hanoi at that point. And Scott Glenn played like a guy who was high up in it. But, you know, he's the kind of guy that was meant to be like a parachute drill sergeant kind of guy. And he, you know, played a lot of military guys over his career. He certainly looked like he could have been an enlisted man or somebody higher up in the totem pole. And then you get to that blockbuster time with Red October and Silence of the Lambs.
$40 million computer tells you you're chasing an earthquake, but you don't believe it. And you come up with this on your own. Yes, sir. Including all the navigation there. I've got all... Relax, Jonas. You sold me.
Where his Bart Mancuso, look, I don't know any Navy guys. I don't know any sub dudes. But Bart Mancuso just oozes credibility. He just looks like the kind of guy who's running, was it the Los Angeles, I think? The Dallas class submarine, the Los Angeles, or the Los Angeles class club, the Dallas? I can't remember what it was.
Captain, wait. You may need this, sir. Thank you. Don't just stand there, Ryan. Go with him. You speak English? Yes, sir. Get your butt over here.
Yeah, when he wears these enormous glasses, he takes them off and he's doing Morse code. He goes, my Morse is a little rusty. I hope I'm sending them the dimensions on Playmate of the Month, that kind of thing. And, you know, it's an ensemble, but that's exactly what the kind of character actor he is. He jumps into the ensembles and he makes so much sense. And Silence of the Lambs, you know, you're right, the work that he did with Jonathan Demme. Yeah, it's something about the moment, the age he was in, like what he could do was perfect for the way people used him at that time. And he's stayed working the entire time. I mean, he's just a guy that once you find a use for it, he kind of looked like he was 80 when he was 34. You know, there's just that the age lines and the sort of, he wasn't pretty, but he was human. You know, he looked like a hewn piece of sculpture or, you know, a statue made out of beef jerky or something like that. But he's like, you know, exactly the thing I love about actors. He's the kind of guy I put into this class of actors that it thrilled me, that inspired me about watching films, is because I track the character actors. That's why I stick with the Brad Dourifs, and that's why I stick with the Kenny McMillans, and I stick with these guys. Charles Durning. I mean, I guess Charles Durning, a bit doesn't count. He was a leading man, but you get the point. You see what I'm trying to tell you. Scott Glenn fits into all those things.
I'll kick your ass. I'll kick your ass. I'll kick any ass in this joint.